Okay, question 5. So question 5, you need to remember the square root rules, the square root property. Remember earlier we said that the square root of 100 is really the same as the square root of 25 times the square root of 4. This is because 25 times 4 is 100, right? 25 times 4 is 100. So we can say that the square root of 25 is 5 and the square root of 14 is 2. I mean, the square root of 4 is 2, so we get 10. Now, of course, you already know that the square root of 100 is 10. So this is really just to prove to you that this is going to work. You can break down a square root number into 2 factors and then do them individually. So the rules that you have seen before, I hope you still understand, is the square root of a times b is the same as the square root of a times the square root of b. We can apply the same concept in the cubic root. So the cubic root of a times b is the same as the cubic root of a times the cubic root of b. So this is the cubic root properties that we are going to use for these problems. You need to know the first few perfect cube. The first few that you need to memorize is the cubic root of 8 is 2. The cubic root of 27 is 3. The cubic root of 8 is 2. This is because 2 times 2 times 2 equals to 8, right? Same idea here. Because 3 times 3 times 3 is 27. That's why the cubic root of 27 is 3. Cubic root of 64 is 4. This is because 4 times 4 times 4 is 64. And cubic root of 125 is 5. This is because 5 times 5 times 5 is 125. Maybe also 6. So the cubic root of 216 is 6. Because 6 times 6 times 6 is 216. So now that I know the first few perfect cube up to 6, I can now attempt these problems. The cubic root of 512. So you see, all I'm doing is I'm just trying to divide this by 8, because 8 is one of the perfect cube, right? So you you can use your calculator to help you. After I divide this by 8, I get 64. So I should be able to stop here already, because cubic root of 8 and the cubic root of 64 are both cubic root that I should have memorized already. Or if you haven't, you can just look at, just write them down, and then these are the 5 that you want to try, the 5 perfect cubic number that you want to try. So you can say the cubic root of 512 is the cubic root of 8 times the cubic root of 512. Times the cubic root of 64. So the cubic root of 8 is 2, and the cubic root of 64 is 4. And 4 times 2 is 8. So that's the answer for question A. Excuse me. Okay. Moving on to B. Cubic root of 3,375. So whenever a number ends with a 5 for cubic root, I will try 125, because it also ends with a 5, right? So very likely that it will be divisible by 125, and it is. So we get cubic root of 125 times the cubic root of 27. The cubic root of 125 is 5, the cubic root of 27 is 3, and we get 15. C, cubic root of 8,000. So when you're dealing with cubic roots, you can always take out 1,000, so 1 with 3 zeros. Because the cubic root of 1 with 3 0 is just 1 with 1 0. You just divide the amount of 0 by 3. And if you think about this, 10 times 10 is 100, 100 times 10 is 1,000. This is also why cubic root of 1,000 is 10. The cubic root of 8 will just be 2, and we get 20. D, cubic root of 27,000. So again, we can take out the 1000. The cubic root of 27 is 3, and the cubic root of 1000 is 10, and we get 30. And E. We have cubic root of 1728. I'll try to divide this by 8. It won't work. So I get cubic root of 8 times the cubic root of 216. The cubic root of A is 2, and the cubic root of 216 is 6. 2 times 6 is 12. F. Cubic root of 5832. Again, I'll try to divide this by 8. That's always the first number that I'm trying here. I get 729. I can try A again, and it doesn't work. So the next number that I can try is 27. And it worked. So now I have the cubic root of 8 times the cubic root of 27 times the cubic root of 27. The cubic root of A is 2, the cubic root of 27 is 3, and the cubic root of 27 is 3. 2 times 3 is 6, 6 times 3 is 18. G. Cubic root of 9261. I will still try 8. I don't think it worked, but I'm just using my calculator, so I'll give it a try. And then the next one is 27. So 27 worked. Now 343 is going to be a very weird one, so something that we haven't memorized yet. But I can tell you that if you try all the way up to 216, nothing will work. This is actually divisible by 7. So when nothing works, you will just have to go back to try the prime factors. So now we have the cubic root of 27 times the cubic root of. You have 3 7s. So that's 7 to the power 3. The cubic root of 27 is 3. And the cubic root of 7 to the power 3, you should already know from question 4 that cubic roots and to the power 3, they will cross each other out. So you will just end up with a 7. So 3 times 7 is 21. Okay? So that's G, and then H. Cubic root of 13824. Same idea, I'll try to divide this by 8. We get 1728, then divide by 8. We get 216. So we have cubic root of 8 times the cubic root of 8 times the cubic root of 216. Cubic root of 8 is 2, cubic root of 8 is 2, and the cubic root of 216 is 6. We get 24. Okay, I will see you in the next video to go for I to L.